Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My name is Adel Mozammel and welcome to the Muslim Education Show. Today we have a very special guest with us and her name is Aziza. And with over 640,000 followers on Instagram and with over 2.6 million likes, Aziza is essentially a sensational TikTok star. And today she's come to Islam Channel Bangla to discuss what it means to be on social media, what it means to have a semi-celebrity status, and what can we learn from it, and what kind of values do people gain from social media. And before we go into it, we'll have a brief chat with Aziza about her life and where she starts with. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Aziza.
Wa alaikum assalam.
And thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Now, before we get into the show properly, I want to ask you a little bit about who is Aziza in terms of the personality that you have on social media and who you are and how you got to where you are today.
So essentially I started making videos from a very young age.
What's that?
Pardon?
What age is a very young age?
I would say like around 11, you know. I literally used to pick up a phone and just make funny content, whatever would come to my mind. And then that sort of grew on to me going through my teenager phase, and I started posting the content on my accounts, and now I just have a following, and it's not on Instagram, it's on TikTok.
It's on TikTok, okay. So what's the biggest differences between Instagram and TikTok for those of us that don't know?
Personally, I feel like Instagram has a reputation now that's quite superficial, but it's caught onto what TikTok has managed to do. So they're kind of copying TikTok now because they see the engagement. But I think TikTok is definitely an alternative for creative people to come online and share everything about their personal life, their talents. But Instagram is definitely more superficial in its nature.
So do you feel that you have to be more authentic to be on TikTok?
Yes and no, because some people play characters on TikTok.
Do you play a character?
Kind of.
Okay, and what character do you play?
I'm just usually like my crazier, funny self on TikTok because I make funny content as well. But I like to sometimes break that barrier and engage directly with my audiences. Okay, and when you say engage directly with your audiences, do you talk to your followers and have conversations with them about who you are? Because it's quite, I imagine, quite a public lifestyle. It is quite public, you know, and I do notice it when sometimes people might come up to me and I can tell that they've been watching my videos a lot because they kind of get really happy and they say, you know, like, we've been watching your videos and my mum watches you, and I'm like, wow, like there's actually people like really in there. Was there a video that actually catapulted you? Yes, I would say that was when I was 17 years old. Okay. This was without, because I don't know, because our audience might not know and that how old you are now, when you were 17, and what the changes were. Maybe you can give us a little bit of your TikTok history. So I started on Twitter. Okay. I posted a video and it just went viral. What was the video? It was a very silly video, let's just say. Okay. And now I feel like I'm able to keep, you know, my authenticity, and I'm allowed to like stay true to myself and my humour, but also kind of wear the hijab at the same time. And so you haven't always been wearing the hijab? No, I haven't always been wearing the hijab. Okay, so is that quite a recent thing? Yeah, literally last year, subhanAllah, I started wearing it. No way? Yeah. Okay, mashallah, mabruk. Tell us about how that came about. So I had, let's just say, like an awakening, which basically entailed of me getting into a car accident. So you had an awakening in a car accident? Yes. Okay, go on. I crashed my car. Okay. And I was by myself, which I think was very important to the story, that I was by myself, because I came to a realization when I pushed myself out the car that I tried to say my shahada and it wasn't coming out. And I was very conscious when my car crashed, subhanAllah. And when I tried to say my shahada, it wasn't coming out, and I knew it was blocked because as soon as that happened, a paramedic came and said, look, I'm a paramedic, asking me questions. I was able to answer those questions. And of course, I knew what the shahada was. You know, I'm born into a Muslim family, but I was just strayed away from the religion at the time.
And yeah, like, it happened. And when I was sat isolated in the hospital, obviously people were visiting me. But when I was sat there, I really was thinking, you know, and my dad had bought a Quran for me to read while I was in hospital in case I wanted to pick it up, and I did. And I instantly started feeling overwhelmed, and I started crying. And from that day on, it was quick for me. I put on a hijab, then I started being more modest, and my followers were, you know, I involved them with that, with my story.
Oh, so they kind of were part and parcel with what was happening. So that's quite an emotional kind of change. And did it affect what the content you are producing after?
I would say yes, but not majorly. I was able to stay funny and able to do what I love to do, but obviously some things had to stop.
Okay, so in this time when you're in a car, you're by yourself, and you're trying to say the Shahada, and you said you had an awakening. Was it because you said that you weren't able to actually say it? Was that, what was the kind of mindset? What did you go through at that time?
So when I realised that I couldn't say my Shahada, I was really scared. I was like, oh my God, because I actually thought I was dying. I thought I had a really bad injury. It felt really horrible, like I really thought this was the end for me. And that made me think, if I'm trying to call out to Allah just before I'm about to die, subhanAllah, then I should be calling out to Him 5 times a day. This is like a sign, like, girl, you know, you need to fix yourself. And that's what it was like for me.
And the kind of reaction from your followers, how was that? How did they receive this news, this Aziza that's now praying, that's more God conscious? How was that received?
So I want to speak about the positives. There was a very positive, overwhelming reaction. So many people were very supportive of me. And obviously I'm from East London, and a lot of my followers are also from East London. So, you know, it's a very prominent, diverse Muslim area. So I have quite a few, 100,000 followers, like a lot that are Muslim, basically.
Okay, so you've got like a big Muslim following?
Yes.
Amazing.
There were some people who were very against it, you know. But that comes naturally when you're
within
on
the Muslim
social media.
community?
Oh, of course.
And they were like, what? They didn't like that you were wearing hijab?
Of course, they didn't like it.
What did they say?
They say, oh, she's trying to be Muslim now, and haram, like, oh, we won't forget what you were doing, we won't forget, you know.
Wow, okay.
Stuff like that, and it's just like...
How did that affect you?
It used to affect me. I mean, negative comments used to affect me, but I feel like I'm so young and I've experienced this, where now I can just look at these comments and mostly just laugh.
Okay, because I've heard that that social media can be quite toxic.
Yeah.
And some of the comments that are made almost are very cutting, and there's an element of truth in a lot of it.
Yeah.
And that's why it hurts people. And how do you cope with that? Because I imagine that's quite a lot of stress for someone quite young to go through regularly.
So usually when I get a lot of hate, I try to tell myself that these people don't actually know the in-depth of who you are. They just look at things that are face value and they take from that, and then they'll scroll on to the next thing, and then they'll hate on maybe someone else. No one is ever safe from someone who wants to be negative online, you know, because they feel like they have the right to do so.
Do you think a lot of it is that they're unhappy themselves and they need to project outwards?
100%. It's always a form of projection, because this world is so full of insecurities. And I'm a victim of it. You probably are.
100%, of course, of course. So then it begs the question, what's the point of all this fame? And do you crave it?
So I wouldn't say that I'm famous, first of all. But I would definitely say that it sometimes is like a toxic relationship, because sometimes it can get really overwhelming when you have a video with loads of views after a period of time where you've been quite dry, let's say during the month, especially with the fact that this is a career for me. You know, it's like a competition with other creators. But I do feel like, you know, it takes someone who's quite strong-willed to get over that toxic element to it and try to focus on the positive things.
Okay, but the question, would you say there's any point of fame?
Not fame, no. I wouldn't say there's a point of fame.
So, okay, why did you pick, out of all the careers you could pick, for example, a lot of parents would be encouraging their children to go into academic studies, to get a degree, to go to Oxford, to go to Cambridge. Now, you've almost flipped it on its head, and you've chosen to begin a career in social media.
Yeah.
And to be honest, that could be quite alarming for a lot of parents, because they could say that this is a bad influence. She's actually encouraging young girls and young boys to go into social media. What kind of future is there in social media?
There's a huge future in social media now. Everything is moving digitally. You know, obviously, I mean, we're on a TV show. You know, people have dedicated their time and their passion and their efforts to even get the perfect lighting today. So really, I think, you know, the next generation as well, who want to be more creative, are going to be wanting to go more digitally, because everything is digital now, like I said. And for me, it takes, when I'm making videos, for example, you need to have the correct sound bites, you need to have the correct lighting, you need the right frames. You might make a 30-minute video and have to condense it down to a 30-second video, and these are all skill sets that are connected with media. This is a form of media right here. It's taken skill sets to produce this whole thing. So there is a really big future. Wherever you look, there's a screen now. And some people might find that frightening, but some people really find that, you know, people are curious about that and they want to learn more.
Okay, there's a question that's come through over WhatsApp for you, Aziza. And if those of you that are watching at home, if you'd like to call in, please do. The number should be on the screen. But the question is, how do you, Aziza, get over some of these negative comments, because the author, she's feeling depressed as a result of it? And have you ever felt this kind of depression that comes as a result of this?
I used to, before I wore hijab. SubhanAllah, now it's just humorous to me when I read these comments. They don't know anything about me. They're going to be questioning the hereafter alone, and so am I. And I feel like a lot of this does play into the part of the fact that I grew up with really confident parents, really confident brothers and sisters, and I kind of like look up to them in that sense, where like my brother, if someone is saying something to me, but no man, you know, come on. And my dad has the same attitude, so does my mum, and they taught me that as well. And I feel like I realised that once I kind of had that awakening. I was like, okay, so everything my elders and my parents have been telling me is quite true, you know, and you just have to block out the haters, man. Okay,
so a lot of the listeners and the viewers may not have very positive parents that are speaking to them about this. And to be honest, for a lot of parents, when they see their children on their phones just aimlessly scrolling through TikTok, Instagram, it seems like it's a terrible waste of time. Now, what would you advise those parents?
So I have like a strong opinion on this.
Okay.
And I really do feel like as if we have been advised to raise our kids in a certain way. When they're 0 to 7, you know, you build their trust and then you play with them. And then after 7 years, when they're 8 to 14, you know, you teach them manners. And how I feel about this is, don't let your child lose themselves to social media before before you're not able to build their trust. You would rather be your child's safe space rather than your child having their safe space be social media, because that's when it gets tricky. If you're not able to connect with your child more than they can connect to social media, it can become quite emotionally alarming, because on social media, if you scroll past one thing, you might get emotional response to it. If you scroll past another thing, you might get an emotional response to it. And if they're giving all their emotions to social media rather than, you know, then I think you definitely need to try and build that trust with your child before they trust social media more.
So we're going to go to break in a few minutes. And so what I would like to do is, just before we go to break, I'd like to ask you one short question, and that is that, and we'll discuss this after the break as well, is, with all of these dangers that you're talking about that's on social media, what would you say is the primary danger for girls?
For girls, I would definitely say is the way the West wants to portray them and how that's influencing social media as a whole. It's prominent and it's happening. And I feel like even little children nowadays, they feel like as if they have to act in a certain way. And I'm not gonna like, you know, they have to act in a certain way which may come across as something, you know, promiscuous. And obviously I'm not saying that, you know, you should base a child on promiscuity, not at all. But it's the way that I feel like the West is influencing the media, and which is going on to, you know, the girls, which is people think that's liberation and freedom. I don't think it's that. I think it's a form of patriarchy. That's my opinion, and that's what I feel like the dangers of social media are with women as well. I was a victim of it. Alhamdulillah, I was able to
How were you a victim of it?
You know, I'm not going to expose my sins, but I was very much thinking that, yeah, this is liberation, you know, this is freedom. I feel like a liberated woman, but no, this is not a free world. This is not a free world. Everything is controlled by something, and I realised that Allah has a beauty standard for me.
Okay, mashallah.
And that is by covering up. And obviously, I'm on a journey as well. I'm not perfect, but I know that's what His beauty standard is, alhamdulillah, and I feel like I want a lot of women to understand that as well, you know.
MashaAllah. So would you feel that now, at this station in your life, it's something that you've embraced?
100%.
And it sounds to me like what you're saying is you love it.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel that you genuinely love it. It's become a part of you. And I feel like it's something you want to share with others for them to kind of also get this benefit.
Yeah.
This benefit that you've got from hijab. And I feel like from what you're saying that it's almost like break free from what you've been taught because it's not true, and try this because then you're going to experience freedom.
Exactly, exactly.
MashaAllah. Okay. So it's quite, I mean, hijab is probably quite a big topic for you now. And so have you kind of come into, because there's like a big hijabi influencer crowd as well, right?
Yeah.
So is that something you're also part of?
Yeah, I've got hijabi influencer friends. They're lovely.
So, and what's the kind of main purpose of the hijabi influencer? What is it? Are they about encouraging women to go into wearing hijab, or is it more about accentuating beauty standards?
You know, I would definitely say both for both. You're like both of those statements are very much like true. Okay. As in, I feel like, you know, I see a lot of hijabi beauty influencers, and then I also see those same influencers inspiring other people to wear the hijab as well. So there are essentially two sides to it. I do have like a lot of hijabi beauty influencers as friends, and sometimes I, you know, do the occasional, hi guys, you know, like this product is really nice.
So tell me a little bit about, hi guys, tell me a little bit about that.
Hi guys is very like, okay, this is going to be about a product, or this is going to be some sort of promotion, or this is going to be a get ready with me, or, you know, kind of a video that's probably going to be connecting a bit more directly with the audience opposed to the skits and maybe...
Right.
You know, yeah.
And is this kind of part of the wider social media education that this becomes quite lucrative?
Yes, it is a lucrative business. Like, it is a lucrative... Are you talking about in terms of businesses or in terms of creators?
Well, in terms of hijabi influencers...
Oh, okay.
Advertising products.
Yeah.
Does that become quite a lucrative industry?
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of hijabis haven't had the opportunity, and this is their time now. As social media is growing, I feel like we have so many opportunities where, yeah, I can promote a moisturizer advert. It doesn't have to be typical French model that's doing it. We deserve to, you know, because there are hijabis buying this product, so...
And what kind of, I mean, I know that you've got, like, quite a big following, but a lot of these hijabi influencers, what kind of followings do they have? Are they, I mean, I really don't know.
There are some really huge, like, on TikTok, because obviously I'm a TikTok girly, but there are quite a lot of hijabi influencers that are smashing it at the moment.
And so it really is an alternative to doing a degree then?
I would say so. I think it is an alternative to do a degree if that's what you want to get into.
Here's a question though, is that not short-lived? Because do the hijabi influencers, is it largely based on their beauty standards, and is there a time limit how long they can do it for before it goes?
Absolutely not, because you know, I don't know how old you're talking about, but, you know, there's even some really old people that go on TikTok and make it a thing for themselves as well. If it's beauty, if it's painting, if it's anything. If people like it, they like it. If you're good at what you do, it will do well. Okay,
well, excellent. Thank you very much. Join us again after the break. Inshallah, we'll continue with this. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to the Muslim Education Show. And today we're here with Aziza, who is telling us how social media has become a career for her as an influencer. And it could be an alternative to doing a degree for many people. So, you know, we have a lot of parents watching that their A-level results are coming out. Their children have been on their TikTok and Instagram throughout the summer. They're planning for them to go to university. Now they're watching Aziza. Aziza's like, no, you need to learn about lighting, camera action, editing, and you get 2.6 million followers. And then, did you say to me that somebody has made £50,000 per week on social media?
No, someone started a bit, not £50,000 a week, but I think they made £50,000 revenue within 1 month of them not starting up the business, but probably a good month for them selling abayas on TikTok.
Listen, shall I just stop because, you know, I'm in education? Shall I just quit my business and just try to make it on social media?
Well, not for abayas specifically, but definitely.
Oh, so what works? Tell me what is selling on social media now for Muslims. Like, I know Hijabi influencers, are they selling hijabs? Is that what's really, what seems to be selling? Because if there are students that are going to try to make a life in social media, instead of going to Oxford, instead of going to Cambridge, they're going to try to make a life in social media, what would be your top recommendations for them?
I think if you're wanting to go into social media and you want to, so do you necessarily mean like someone that just wants to make money off YouTube from posting random YouTube videos, or do you mean someone that wants to be a personality online and make money from doing that?
Well, I would imagine that as a social media influencer, you are the brand.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Would that be fair to say that it's because your social media title is Aziza? Yeah. So it's people are buying into you. So whether you're on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it doesn't matter because it's Aziza that's the product. People are buying into you. Yeah. So when you have ad agencies and so on, they want you to advertise their products because they've bought into you. I would imagine that would be the right way for...
Yeah. Okay, so if you're someone that wants to do that and you want to be the brand and you want to be the person and you're a creative kind of person and you want to get onto social media, you need to be hard-hearted for that one.
Hard-hearted, what does that mean? So
you need to be able to take hate.
Okay.
Brands might sign you with a contract and they say, no, we don't want you anymore.
Right.
You might get paid really badly in a dry month, then you might get paid really well. Maybe your videos don't do well, maybe it's taking you so long to hit the mark that you want. So I definitely...
So it's not as secure?
It's not as secure, definitely not.
So you wouldn't say for someone that, Mum, Dad, I don't want to do medicine anymore, I'm going to be a TikTok star? If
you want to do medicine, do that medicine degree. These are really prestigious degrees. I would definitely say someone who's going to Oxford, Cambridge, you can do social media on the side, but prioritize that because that in itself is a talent, you know. Those Russell Group unis, don't miss an opportunity on that.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Would you say that they have more value?
Well, in the world we live in, yes, but in a few years, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me, what is Aziza's predictions for the future?
So with the way digital is literally like the it thing now, you know, everything is either an advert, like, you know, adverts are everywhere. You know, I think more creative people are going to be getting into things like ads, content creation, web design, but you can get a degree for these things, but some people just have what it takes, you know, and they just go straight into it. For example, for me, all the videos I've created have just been, I have not researched. I have just had that niche, you know, of being able to just create a good video, post it, and people seem to like it in a humble way.
Let me tell you, let's say tomorrow, and I don't know if you know this, headline news, TikTok is banned in UK.
Where's the next country where it's free?
So you're just going to move out?
I don't know what I'd do, honestly, and that's a really good question. And I think about that nearly every day.
So is that like a job insecurity for you?
Like you said, it's not secure.
Right.
Like, it's not as secure as, you know, having that paper is. But I feel like we are slowly breaking out of that kind of idea.
Would you say that if TikTok is banned, for example, in the UK tomorrow, the skills that you mentioned earlier will still exist. Lighting, camera, editing, and that will still be a part of the digital world.
Yeah.
So if TikTok is banned, do you think that the social media revolution will go with it?
See, TikTok is huge and it has revolutionized social media and every single app as a whole. So that would be big.
You know, there's a caller on the line that wishes to speak to you. Should we bring them on?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, caller. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Hi, I'm fine.
What's your name and where are you calling from and what's your question?
My name is Momtaz and I'm calling from London, Hoxton. And my question is basically, the young lady on the program is very positively showing all the positive sides of social media. And she's a very confident young lady. And basically, from the way she's speaking, she's presenting herself from a very strong background, as in she herself has said that her parents and her siblings have supported her. And the question I want to pose is basically social media or TikTok. I find it very scary as a parent. You know, I once thought I was a very clued up parent, but I don't think that any parent is prepared for the way the social media is moving, in the speed that is moving.
Absolutely.
And I also find it a very scary form of grooming. In many ways, grooming in all aspects. So I just want to ask the young lady what she thinks about that.
It's a great question. Thank you so much. And it's a very important question. The dangers of social media, there is predators out there. There is groomers out there. You yourself are quite young and as you've got quite a positive, strong family. But what's your opinion on that?
You know, I don't think young kids should actually be on social media.
Okay, Jazakallah khair for that, show.
I just don't think young kids should be given a phone at a young age. Like, I don't want to sound like... Because I know some people who are going to be watching this are going to be like, she sounds like an auntie. But it's true. Paedophilia is a serious issue. The way children use social media, they don't realise, but we realise as adults that they are being influenced so easily. And I just feel like even... I'm not going to say, but there's some people like around me and we'll just be having a chat and they're just like, oh, did you know a man was speaking to so-and-so and that person is like quite young? And I'm like, how? And it's just like they have an access of a button. I think there should be limitations and restrictions.
But Aziza, there's going to be a question here from our viewers but you were on social media from the age of 11.
Yeah.
Right? And for a lot of viewers, it's going to be like, you're promoting social media, right? Because you're on it. Yeah. But there's clearly this danger on the other side. And when you say that, well, I don't think young people should be on it, but I was on it from the age of 11, that comes across like a contradiction.
Yeah, of course.
So how do you marry the two of those?
Well, obviously, like I said, you know, I've been through a journey recently. And I kind of had that awakening where I even said before that my parents were right with whatever they're saying. Now, I'm saying my parents are being supportive in terms of my career choices. They always knew I'm a very eccentric kind of individual, very charismatic. But that does not mean that my parents and my mum and my dad and my brother said, you know, if anyone tries something with you, you know, and, you know, you shouldn't be posting on Instagram at such a young age. But there wasn't that element of force. Because how much can you do, you know? Like, I was given a phone during high school. You know, and what phone was it? I had a brick phone in year 6, but then new phones started coming out, so I got a touchscreen one.
I guess what would be a question for a lot of parents, how do we protect our children on social media? And you being quite influential on social media and having seen both sides, what advice would you say to parents that, and I think you touched on this before, is building good relationships with your children, but that doesn't always work out like that because there is a teenager rebellion stage. So if your child is rebelling and their whole life is around their phone and you have no idea what's going on, what can you do as a parent?
So, you know, I went through this, and what you're describing right now is what I actually went through. I'm not even a parent, but you know, my parents, I wouldn't say, like, they had never given up on me. They will just make dua. And I honestly, that is the most dangerous thing when it comes to social media, because you do feel helpless and, you know, you don't know what to do. And I feel like you just need to let your child grow and realize for themselves, because if they're going to put themselves in a dangerous situation and you're trying to stop them, but it's not working and there's that clash, they're going to figure out earlier. They're going to figure out earlier, like I did, you know? And unfortunately, it is a really big issue, and I'm not a parent now, I don't know what to say.
No, that's okay. I think the caller has a follow-up question.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. I was going to say to the sister, like, I'm not criticising her in any way. You know, in fact, I think she's amazing. The way she's presenting herself, the way she's talking so confidently about it.
Mashallah.
But I guess what I'm trying to say, and you know, I really want the viewers as well to hear this. And it's a scary world out there. And I'm not just talking about predators. I'm talking about lifestyle, the way young people are targeted, and it's through ads and, you know, TikTok, every social media, the algorithms. There's so many things that, you know, from the media, everything's on the phone. You do not need to go out anymore. Everything is in your home. And it's scary. Yeah. And believe you me, I'm not saying I've got 3 young daughters. 2 are living away from home. And I have given them space and freedom. But I'm not just talking about my child. I'm talking about what I see happening around me. And I have seen good parents that there's nothing you can do. And I think as a government, as schools, they all need to be in on this to support each other, to see how we can go forward with positiveness in social media or TikTok or whatever that is happening at this very moment. And mental health is a big thing. No matter what anybody says, I see children getting depressed, falling into, you know, like I said, they're in their rooms on their phone, and it matters. The likes matters.
No,
how many likes they get or don't get, and it's scary. I'm telling you, like when you see young children at the age of 10, 12, thinking their life, not education, you know, all they're interested is they want to be, they want to go become a TikTok influencer. They want to make videos.
No, Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Inshallah, that is very, very good point. Inshallah, we'll hear from you again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you for calling again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, and look, mental health is a serious issue, and I think you're saying that it's something that affected you as well on this journey. And on the flip side of it, so there is a scary side, but you've obviously kind of broke through that glass ceiling and come onto the other side, and as a result of that, now it's becoming a lucrative industry for you, and there is a huge and I think what you're saying is that there's a huge kind of opening and opportunities for young Muslim women to promote themselves and to make a career for themselves in this. Now, what kind of criticisms do you think that young hijabi Muslim women have faced as a result of being on social media?
So I get...
You see what that's like?
Tell me about it. So I get criticised every single day, no matter what I do.
Right.
No matter what it may be.
What, like drinking a glass of water and you're going to get criticised?
Yes, of course I'm going to get criticised for drinking a glass of... You know, some people say I should take my hijab off because I'm displaying myself online. Okay. Cool. But how can you be so... Like, you know, some people are so obsessed with the negative sides of things. They don't realise that they don't know this, and I don't need to tell anyone this. I could dance around saying this, like, that I've inspired a lot of women, alhamdulillah, subhanallah. I can't believe I'm able to say this, but to wear the hijab, right?
Alhamdulillah. Oh, have they said that to you as well?
All the time. I get messages and DMs.
Oh, so wait, hold on. Let me just fall back a second. Are you saying that you've got lots of young sisters that have embraced the hijab as a result of your actions? As
a result of my actions, yeah.
Wow, okay, mashallah.
And it will be someone new every day, all different ages, and I'm like, I helped that happen. Like,
amazing.
That
you're a part of that journey.
I'm a part of that journey, yeah, exactly. And
how does that make you feel?
That makes me feel happy, subhanallah. Like, it's amazing, you know. Testify for me. but you know, like, say, you know, I'm focused on the more positive things, right? But the negative and the criticisms is insane. Every hijabi woman I know they don't even need to tell me this, I know they're getting it. You know, no matter what it may be, you know, you need to get off social media. How dare you? Your father, you know, your father's going to say this.
Okay, let me ask you a question. There seems to be this new trend of hijabi sisters online with their husbands, and it's become like a show. And there seems to be a discussion around that, whether this is a positive thing or a negative. And you're smiling. I'd like to get your thoughts on this.
So, I would not share my relationship online.
Okay.
I feel like that's when it becomes a little bit intense for you to show something so intimate. And I do have that barrier. And, you know, I have a big following, and my parents, they always used to say this to me as a child. They said, Aziza, stop filming everything. Stop filming everything. My dad, Aziza, if your camera's out, I don't want you to be putting me anywhere, you know? And it's like, I get why they were saying that now, because there are some evil people out there. They don't need to know all of my business.
Wait, is your parents on social media now as well?
They use social media.
Right, but they're not like TikTok influencers or anything like that?
No, they're not influencers
okay, so
or
they're
anything.
not going...
Sometimes I'll involve my mum in a little video, you know, harmless, but my husband does not even want to... He's a very low-key guy, and I don't know, like, I wouldn't share that intimate side in my life.
And so, because it's become having social media... husband-wife couples, Muslim husband-wife couples. Why is it okay for a hijabi influencer to go out there, and that's great, but not for her to go out as a unit? Isn't that promoting family values?
I don't think it's necessary. Like, I mean, it's more of a personal thing. I think, you know, you could have a hijabi and her husband, you know, make great content, really nice content, family-friendly content, challenges, recipes, pranks. I think all of that stuff is harmless, but knowing I'm such a big personality and I have caused controversy before, I'm not like family. I mean,
you're not a family-friendly comedian?
I mean, people's parents watch me, but just to get a little laugh at the end of the day when they've had a stressful day, you know?
Right.
But I would not recommend young children to watch my content just purely because, like, I feel like it's a little bit intense sometimes.
Okay, tell me what is intense about your content so I understand.
So, like, you know, sometimes I'll be responding to hate comments, or sometimes I'll be responding to certain videos of me, like, acting, like, kind of crazy. Or sometimes I'll be, like, having, like, you know, intimate discussions with my audience about certain topics that aren't really, like, kid appropriate.
So, and is... When people say to you and they send you comments and they're like, look at Aziza trying to be religious now, how do you respond to them?
Aren't we all supposed to try? That's the whole point of the dunya.
Okay.
We're on this journey to try and be more religious, inshallah. And some days we have down days, some days we have good days. That's the whole point of trying. You saying that isn't going to affect me.
That doesn't faze you?
No, that doesn't faze me.
Okay, and in order for someone to kind of really grow as a religious person on social media, what would you say are your top 5 tips?
Top 5 tips. Top 5 tips if you're trying to be religious and grow on social media.
Whenever you're ready.
Whenever I'm ready. Top 5 tips if you're trying to be religious and grow on social media. I think you should be doing this anyway, but you should be reading dua constantly because there are people that are going to be watching you.
Okay.
I think you need to have a specific target audience when you're making your content. And kind of like, don't stick to it, because obviously if you get a new passion, you get a new passion. But I think you should find a nice niche for yourself so you don't have to keep falling back on stuff. Trying to be religious and...
We've got 3.
Oh, 3.
You've done 3 already.
Have I done 3?
Yeah, you've done 3.
Oh, okay, so 2 more.
Find a niche, find your target audience. Get good at maybe doing the edits.
Pardon?
Like good editing skills, pick up some editing skills.
Yeah. Okay, so I thought you meant like has to be to do with religion.
No, it's okay. What we're going to do, we're going to go for break because it's Maghrib, and then we're going to come back. Thank you very much. Inshallah, we'll speak to you soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for joining us back on the Muslim Education Show with me, Adel Mozammel, and our special guest, Aziza. And we're talking about all things education and social media. And to start off this last segment of the show, the main question for you, Aziza, is if I don't want my children to be on social media. What can I do?
Well, we live in a world where wherever you look, there's going to be a screen. So you need to either just move with the times or run away to the forest because...
Well, no, I don't want my kids to be on social media. It's got all these weirdos on it and influencing my kids to start doing makeup and, you know, do dodgy things with their hijab. I don't want them to be on social media. How do we deal with this?
Do you use social media?
Well, it's not about me, but I might not want my children because I'm an adult. My child is 11 years old. She's on social media and taking funny pictures of herself. What is this? So
exactly, you know, as an adult, you want to influence your child to behave in the best manner. Mm-hmm. And no one's perfect, obviously. Mm-hmm. If you don't want your child using social media, there should not even be a TV in your house because that's how tough it is now. There's a screen everywhere, you know.
Oh, no, come on, that's ridiculous. You're telling me to get rid of a TV. TVs and social media are a whole different thing, Aziza, come on.
They're not a different thing. This is a form of media. We're being social right now. I'm telling you, this is social media. You know, a kid will be glued to a screen. They won't be able to eat without watching something on their iPad. This is how addictive it is. I can easily say this because I'm addicted to my phone. Mm-hmm. I'm using social media all the time. Of course I'm going to be addicted to my phone in some sort of way.
Surely getting rid of your social media will allow you to be closer to God, Aziza. It will give you that spirituality. How do you respond to that?
You know, I feel like everyone needs a social media detox. But there is certain ways that I like to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like we all have our individuality, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like, you know, through my prayer and through my dua and through my pondering, which is always happening constantly for me, I'm always pondering, and I feel like that's how I can be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'm very grateful that I'm able to have a persona and, you know, a platform on social media, but I wouldn't say that it interferes with me being a Muslim.
Okay, let me ask you a question that many parents and young people are maybe thinking about. Can I find my husband or wife on social media?
You know, I don't believe in Muzmatch and Shadi.com and...
You seem to know. Tell me more about this.
I mean, I feel like they have had, like, you know, successful relationships that have been created and stuff. But personally, I just feel like I need the real world. And that's me saying that as a social media person. Because I don't like that superficial thing of creating a profile, looking good. And I'd rather my husband from the bat see me in my worst time. I'd rather him see me at my worst moment and then, you know...
But in the world of social media, how does that happen? I mean, social media literally means that you're living in a society which is online. Mm-hmm. So now people are communicating online.
Yeah.
They're TVs on their phones. They're meeting people on their phones. So meeting people in the real world is almost alien now, surely.
I feel like a lot of people have developed anxiety because, you know, they found that comfort space on social media, like we touched on before. The children having to, you know, build a relationship with their parents before they put their trust into social media, right? And that does build up anxiety in the real world.
Okay, I'm going to take a call and I want to come back to you telling us about how to find a husband or wife on social media. Assalamu alaikum, caller. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm very well, thank you.
What's your name and what's your question?
I'm Aziza's mum, and I just want to say that I'm very proud of my daughter.
MashaAllah, thank you for calling in, Aziza's mum. Aziza's mum, tell us, I love that you're very proud of your daughter. I think that's great. Tell us the 3 best things that Aziza has done on social media that make you as a mum feel very proud.
3 things that she has done really well is that, you know, she has changed. She has changed herself for the better.
Okay.
And, you know, there are people that are being influenced for the better by her content. Mm-hmm. And she's reaching out to kind of like a wider audience.
Brilliant. Well answered. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Aziza's mum. I'm going to get back and get this final answer from Aziza, inshallah, and we're going to catch up with you soon. Thank you very much for calling.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mama.
That's great. Thank you.
Bye.
Question still stands. The world is social media. You're influencing people on social media. Why shouldn't people look for their husbands and wives on social media?
You know, I'm not opposed to it for other people, but personally, I just feel like I couldn't do that. Like, I feel like I have to have that element of realism in my most intimate relationship of my life. Because remember, trying to find a life partner, that's deep. You know, you would rather have that raw, real element to it rather than something that's really superficial, making a profile, hi, my name is and I've never resonated with that kind of vibe. But, contradictory to what I said, some relationships have been so successful, you know, with Muz, Shadi.com, all of that kind of stuff. So, depends on personal preference, really.
Okay. With the continuous changes of the different apps, like now you've got Threads.
Yeah.
How do you kind of stay relevant in each of them?
So I don't really jump on a lot of bandwagons when it comes to different social apps. Like I don't really use Twitter much. I don't use Threads at all. Okay. The main apps that I use would be Instagram and TikTok. I would communicate with some of my friends on Snapchat. But honestly, for me, staying relevant is...
Everything?
No, it's not everything. I was about to say it's almost like a disease, because sometimes you just feel like as if you're not yourself sometimes, trying to stay relevant. And that's not me, that's me being real on a level, you know, as a content creator, because I love making videos. I've always loved getting my phone, making raw content just like that. But sometimes when I'm like, wait a minute, this is a bit forced, you know, you kind of realise that, oh, I've gone to the deep end, let me take a break.
And do people know, you know, if it's forced, do your followers know that this isn't the real Aziza?
I wouldn't say that isn't the real me, because I don't like I said before, I don't like that superficial nature. Right. I always try to put a side to me that is going to be beneficial and positive and funny and to the audience.
So what do you mean by forced then?
You know, when you just, as a content creator, there are, and I know every content creator can say this, they want to make just one viral video, you know, because most of the videos I make is literally like filmed in 1 minute, post.
Right.
Everything is just perfect in that amount of time. Some videos do well, but then when I'm like, oh, this is a really dry month for me, like my videos aren't
Tell me
doing
something,
great.
how many videos do you post per day?
It depends on how I'm feeling. It's not set for me.
Right.
So
what's the recommended? What do normal content creators do?
So the content creation, like, hype beasts kind of say that, you know, you should be posting 10 times a day, you know, you need to get, you know, in the algorithm, and I don't believe in that. If you have a niche and you're good at what you do and you're passionate about what you do and you genuinely love with what you do, that will follow no matter what kind of career path you decide to choose. Okay,
let me ask you some quick fire questions, right? Okay. Who is the #1 Islamic speaker that you think is out there on social media?
Does Dr. Zakir Naik count?
If he's big on social media, yes. Does it count?
Well, his YouTube clips, man.
Yep.
Dr. Zakir Naik is just a legend.
He's a legend. So he's #1 for you?
Yeah, I think he's #1 for me.
Okay. If I was to ask you, Zakir Naik or Mufti Menk?
Zakir Naik, you know. For me, it's Dr. Zakir Naik. I prefer listening to him speak because he's just so eloquent and he just brings out the facts just like that. I'm like, yes.
Okay, and all right. And with Mufti Menk?
He's just more cuddly bear vibes, you know. Mufti Menk, respect you, man, I'm telling you.
All right. If today, in social media today, who is the kind of most prominent da'i, who's doing the most kind of work on the ground that you can see?
What, like motivational speaker? Or?
Motivational speaker, calling people to Islam, who do you see?
Calling people to Islam, I say like, for the younger generation, I would say Akhi Ayman right now.
Akhi Ayman?
Yeah.
Should we say that Akhi Ayman, he should be coming on our show next, inshallah?
100%. If you brought me, you need Akhi Ayman on it.
You need Akhi Ayman on it?
You know, bounce back.
All right. If it's not for Akhi Ayman, who would you, in the female influencer scene, who would you think is really important to come on? Who do you think would be great for the audiences?
You know, hopefully everyone knows what I'm talking about, but Amira Aski, I think that's her full name, Amira. She's like formerly, I don't know if I should say her previous TikTok name, but alhamdulillah, like she has...
And she turned it around as well?
Yeah, and she's actually like studying the deen, and you can tell that she's...
Oh, she's studying the deen as well?
Yeah, like you can tell, like she's just, I think she's so cool, and you know what, me and her don't really speak.
Right.
But like,
well, this is your moment.
this is my mirror, babe. But yeah, alhamdulillah, like I think she would be amazing. But I don't know if she would want to come on, but definitely see
But that would be that. And is that something you're also considering? Actually taking up a learning and a study of the religion for yourself?
Of course, I want to do that.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, like inshallah, like of course I want to do that. I don't know, like I feel like that's going to be a long journey for me. Like if I'm going to do that, I want to go to Egypt. You know, I want to.
Well,
really...
not Yemen.
Oh, I would love to go to Yemen, but it's not safe right now.
Okay, because I've heard Yemen has also like great education, but your kind of heart is in Egypt to study there?
Oh, I just thought that's the best place to study the deen, no?
I think there's, from what I understand, it's like all over the world. You've got Egypt, you've got Saudi, you've got Mauritania even. So it's I think it's for those that want to study and that want to learn, I think those doors open up for them. And I think if you're starting with that intention that I want to learn the deen, then inshallah that will open for you.
Inshallah.
This is great. So for those of you that are at home today and that have had a chance to kind of take part in this conversation with us, with Aziza today, would like to thank you all for listening in. And if you do have questions and you do have queries about social media and education, please get in touch with us, and the details will be provided on the screen, and we'll be happy to kind of answer any further questions for you. So with many thanks, and we pray for your success inshallah in the future, and would like to thank you and would like to thank you all for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.